were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out. And I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here's volume 2 out of the alphabet A. And we're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat earth map would look like. Now, this is what latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat earth map. As you can see, the dome comes down closer to you over the wall, which will be about 13,000 feet. Now, if you go back out into the center of the earth, or up the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show that it's about 385,500 feet away. It's really simple, folks. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you can say, well, this guy is crazy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there, and it gives you the exact height at a certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica, and NASA came in and erased everything, just like they're erasing everything today.
Hey guys, this is the Gleason's New Standard Map of the world. You can see here that we have the ice wall, which Antarctica is not a continent. It's actually an ice wall that goes 360 degrees around the geocentric flat Earth. But if you'll notice, look how far away the Antarctic ice wall is from any place. Even down here where you can take a cruise, or there might be a military base, it's still like 600 miles. But look at the distance. That's why no one understands what Antarctica is. Look how far away it is from everything. And you know, the sun and moon are local in our firmament, and it creates the different seasons. And the sun never goes any farther out than this. It goes in a cycle like this. So this is why this is always froze. And finally, when you get out that far, all the oceans freeze.
This film crew found out what was really going on in Antarctica, and then they disappeared. This is absolutely crazy and will seriously blow your mind, so if you're easily scared, just keep on scrolling right now. Trust me, trust me. In 2002, a California film crew decided to go to Antarctica to explore it. They thought something a bit odd was going on there because, I mean, look at it. There had been recent satellite images showing what looked like some kind of pyramids in Antarctica, and of course this made them interested and want to go and explore. So they got there and they started exploring. Now on top of this, some of the military claimed that the US government was flying weird military support down to Antarctica. But of course, there's nothing there. Now, shortly after they arrived, they vanished. Gone, never to be seen again. Shortly after, they sent in the military and the Navy SEALs. Now this is where it gets absolutely crazy. Now they did not find the film crew nowhere. However, they discovered this derelict camp, like an old barn and a house. Now inside was this, a tape. And trust me when I say this is about to get mental. After watching the tape, even the Navy SEALs and the military were absolutely shocked. Like, mind completely blown. Basically, evidence suggests that on this tape was what the film crew documented. What was on it was evidence of a dig up to 2 miles deep, and what was under there will shock you. It was what appeared to be some kind of underworld, with cities and buildings all under the ice. Like, what the hell? And of course the SEALs and everyone were absolutely confused out of their mind. Now this is where of course it's going to get even crazier. So they took this back and actually wanted to send it into TV companies to broadcast all over the world. Because I mean it's pretty crazy and they want everyone worldwide to know. But then the government step in saying no, there's nothing there, there's no need to show the tape. Pretty weird, if they got nothing to hide, just let them play the tape. After a long time of legal battles, they were not allowed to broadcast the tape and the government took it. But now some government officials actually even deny that it exists. But there are lawyers still working on this case worldwide trying to get this evidence out. Something is going on.
I got a question for you that's gonna rock your world. Why is it that countries that are practically at war with each other, I'm talking competing and fighting for everything under the sun, but when it comes to this continent, they could all agree on something, which is access should be restricted and the continent should be used peacefully? Sketchville. This is what the Antarctic Treaty says. The purpose of the Antarctic Treaty is to ensure, in the interest of all mankind, that Antarctica shall continue forever to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and shall not become the scene or object of international discord. Oh, so now you guys want to talk about unity when Antarctica is brought up. It's basically saying, oh, but other than the continent, we can fight over everything else. But that doesn't make any sense. This must mean that the continent has something very important that they want to work together on. Or they don't want the masses knowing about. Cause why else would countries be agreeing to unify on something when they're fighting all day every day? If they wanted peace, the whole world would have been unified by now. Think about it. All the research bases down there. The certified elongated skulls they found that were not made by head binding. The crazy amount of military officials reporting seeing ET beings, buried ancient civilizations, and an entrance to an inner world called Agartha. No matter what you think, there's something sketchy going on. I think it's been made very clear now. This continent has a lot more than we think. I think it's time we learn about our true history. You guys want to hear another mind-blowing and cool fact about Antarctica that will make you think really hard? Bro, this man was obsessed with Antarctica, and not just that, but flying saucers as well. It was later figured out that he had many operations that were done behind the scenes, including this one. This project was called the Bell, and it had anti-gravity capabilities and possibly more. Leaked documents from World War II shows that they were trying to make advanced airspace vehicles like this one. He did many expeditions to Antarctica as he believed that there was relics down there that were very powerful enough to win a war. Project High Jump deployed 4,700 troops, including equipment, to Antarctica. He also sent some of the greatest scientists down there to retrieve these relics, aka technologies. Rumors from these documents suggest that they were working with extraterrestrials down there, which might explain why he wanted the Aryan race, which looks like the extraterrestrials he was trying to mimic. This also lines up with his fascination with flying saucers. This also aligns with the mystery and reports about Antarctica for thousands of years and even to this day. Today, they still talk about the ancient civilizations and technologies buried under the ice. I'm pretty sure most of the world knows that he had bases down there, but if you didn't, you know now. Don't believe me? Just go and look it up. So if this is all historical fact, why would he put so much effort into a continent based off of a rumor if he wasn't completely sure that what he was searching for was actually there? What we know about this continent is so little, and we were made to believe that it was just ice and penguins.
There's a supermassive pyramid in Antarctica. I mean supermassive. And some military soldiers have come forward with their testimony about the fact that it's still emitting some type of exotic energy. All the leaders of the world have gone down there. More recently, Buzz Aldrin went there, one of the first people to walk on the moon, and he was completely horrified at what he found out. He actually went on Twitter and made a tweet that said something to the effect of, "They are pure evil, we're in trouble." We are about to hear from official sources that architecture has been located in Antarctica that will confirm there was in fact intelligently built ruins down there. And that would be a world-changing thing of significance. And if we do get the disclosure that we're being promised, this is going to become an open, public, acknowledged thing that there are in fact stone monuments under the ice in Antarctica that are very ancient. Everything that we thought we knew about human history has to be rewritten.
In my last video, I talked about how the firmament may be being hidden from us. I showed clues in our media, right in plain sight, and I talked about how von Braun, also known as the father of NASA, put a Bible verse on his tombstone that talks about the firmament. Also, if you want to do research on this stuff on your own, it's most likely banned in your country, but all you have to do is change your IP address to a different location's IP address, and you'll get access to that banned media. If you don't know how to change your IP, there's an app that does it for you incredibly easy. I put the link in my bio, feel free to check it out. So my first piece of evidence is from an encyclopedia published back in 1956 that talks about a flight to Antarctica proving that the area was featureless in character and had a dome 13,000 feet high. What's interesting is that sometimes when a rocket launch is recorded, it'll appear to hit some sort of invisible barrier when it goes off path. And honestly, in some of these rocket launch videos, it does appear that the rocket just stops abruptly out of nowhere. In this specific rocket launch, it appears to stop so quick and abruptly that the vapor trails around the rocket continue to go up, even though the rocket itself has seemed to stop and even turn around and fall back down. This has led many theorists to believe that it hit the firmament or some sort of dome that we simply cannot see with our own eyes, but is there and is being covered up. In the SpaceX rocket launch, some people pointed out that it appears to be scraping against the firmament so hard that it's actually rippling what the Bible describes as the waters above. And if you continue the video, it looks like a piece of the rocket is trying to continue to go forward, but it's at a standstill and cannot push past an invisible barrier, which many people have theorized is actually the firmament. I'm out of time, but I actually have one more rocket launch video where the rocket was launched by an actual civilian instead of a big corporation like NASA or SpaceX, and it shows something pretty strange. So if you want to see that final part, please leave a like and let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Growing up, we've all been taught that we have 7 continents on our planet. That obviously being North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. But there is a new theory that suggests that our planet may be 3 times bigger than what we're made to believe, with 3 times as many continents. Some people believe that these continents hold prehistoric creatures from the Ice Age, but others believe that there are extremely advanced civilizations that inhabit these unmapped continents, and these are where UFOs really come from, opposed to outer space. Now, I thought this was a stretch until I remembered the story of Admiral Byrd, who was a polar explorer and would consistently go to Antarctica to explore the South Pole. Basically, after one of his expeditions in the 1950s, he got on live TV and said that there was a land beyond the South Pole that was bigger than the United States that needed to be explored. He said it was the most beautiful land he had ever seen and that it was not on any map. There is a lot of evidence for this theory and it gets a lot darker. Like for part 2 if you want to see that. In a recent video, I talked about how Wernher von Braun, also known as the father of NASA, left a Bible verse on his tombstone which talks about the firmament, which people today have taken as a clue that it actually exists and is being covered up. First, I wanted to see if the firmament was ever hinted or seen in any of our medias, because as you know, the elites love to put the truth in plain sight, and surprisingly, it definitely is a lot of hints towards the firmament. Coincidentally, in a lot of these hints programmed within our media regarding the firmament, it either shows them breaking it down completely or breaking through in some way, shape, or form, most likely symbolizing that this is something that they long to do but simply cannot achieve. Now, I could show videos like this all day. There is surprisingly a ridiculous amount of them, but I want to get to what some people may consider as evidence. Hillary Clinton was talking in what some people considered as dual speech. Check it out and let me know what you think.
Have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think. Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now.
You know who this guy is? Let me tell you about him. Auguste Piccard was the first man to ever enter the stratosphere, years before NASA ever existed. And he did it in this thing. Now, if you look him up, you'll see that he was the first person to observe the curvature of the Earth. And in his journal, he wrote that the Earth was as a flat disk with upturned edges. Kind of a weird way to describe curvature, don't you think? He observed this 10 miles up into the sky, which is in the stratosphere, and 35,000 feet is the commonly accepted height at which you are able to observe curvature. He was at 55,000 feet. Was this guy a definitive flat earther? No. And neither is this proof for a flat earth, but it makes you wonder. He's a scientist, man. He observed it.
Hey guys, water always finds its level. You'll notice if you have water in a bowl and you tilt it, it always stays flat. It's replicating the shape of the earth. It always stays flat and level. And you can see this also outside. When you go outside to a pond, you'll notice the mountains and terrain and everything, but the water is always flat and always level. Same with a lake. A large body of a lake, you can see the mountain and terrain, but here's a flat water. It's always level. Same with the ocean. You can definitely see it with the ocean. It's all flat. The earth is 71% water. You cannot have 71% water that is flat on a ball earth.
And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. Oh, we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you. It's got about 18 million cracks in it. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think.
1960s called Operation Dominic. As the official narrative tells us, the operation included within it the Operation Fishbowl events, which were designed to understand how nuclear weapons would interact with the Earth's so-called magnetic field. The highest of the fishbowl events was called Starfish Prime, a 1.4 megaton nuclear bomb detonated at 400 kilometers on July 9th, 1962. Why were they firing rockets and nuclear bombs way up into the Earth's atmosphere to discover more about its radiation? You do realize that nuclear bombs produce extreme radiation. You do not discover the chemical composition of lemon juice by squeezing more lemon juice onto it. And this is the secret. No one in history has ever left Earth. You cannot leave Earth. They are telling you to your face.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system.
The Earth is a closed system.
We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
And this is from one of the highest satanic scientist Kabbalah priests himself, straight from the goat's mouth. See, these Satanists just have to tell you, they are hiding it in plain sight again. And they're getting away with it because they are relying on both our inability to get our heads around the bamboozlement of impossible figures and phenomena, and they are also relying on our blind trust in the scientific institutions of the world and their word. No one has ever left flat Earth. It is a closed system, and not because there are radiation belts. No one has left because there is a dome-like roof above, of what is better understood as a firmament. We cannot leave the Earth. This is what Admiral Byrd discovered in Antarctica. They discovered the foundations of the firmament. And that's why you cannot go to Antarctica. It is literally the edge of the Earth. And I know what you're probably thinking. What? This is going from crazy to crazier to insane. But by now you already know what I am going to say. Let me show you.
I'm here to share with you 44 different documents from the governments whereby they admit the Earth is flat. Documents from the CIA, USSR, US Army, NASA, Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, U.S. Navy, National Imagery and Mapping Agency, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and the U.S. Marine Corps, which includes state-owned universities such as UCLA, Penn State, and Shenyang Aerospace University. Government admits flat Earth document number 1, put out by the CIA, whereby it looks like they stole it from the USSR, and this document was created, appears to be sometime around March of 1957, and you'll notice that in the bottom left-hand corner you'll see the title of the document, the author, if there is one cited, unless there's a ton of them, and I'm not going to list them all. And then you have the URL of this document, so if you want to go download it yourself, you're able to. And when I go through these documents themselves, you'll see on the bottom right-hand corner is the page number where you can find these phrases and words cited. So beginning with page 19 of 100 for this dissertation, there's the brightness of the firmament. The firmament is a biblical term which is mentioned in Genesis chapter 1 8 different times, and beginning with verse 6. And the firmament was made to divide and separate the waters from above from below, as well as the sun, moon, and stars are placed within the firmament. So please go reread Genesis chapter 1. The firmament is also mentioned on page 20. Also, a near sun, which means localized sun, is mentioned. And it talks about the brightness of the first order and derived on the assumption of a flat Earth, and giving some conclusions derived on the basis of this formula. So the formula is based upon the assumption of a flat Earth. There's a near sun, and there's a firmament, apparently. Government admits flat Earth document number 2, propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat Earth. You'll notice that on page 7, it says flat idealized Earth. On page 17, flat Earth. Page 18, flat Earth. Page 28, flat Earth. Page 35, flat Earth. Government admits flat Earth, document number 3, from the U.S. Army, titled An Energy Budget Model to Calculate the Low Atmosphere Profiles of Effective Sound Speed at Night. There's an image in the document where it shows a near and localized sun, crepuscular rays, and a flat Earth. And that again is on.
Why is it that even though the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, goes around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, which travels through the universe at 500,000 miles per hour, which is expanding at over 1,000,000 miles per hour, are we able to take a picture of the sky on the same day every year and never see changes in the stars, even for thousands of years? Why does Elon Musk say, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake? That's because it does look fake. Look how the Earth glitches out in the background, but the car doesn't. And see how the Earth supposedly looks from the International Space Station, which is 240 miles up. However, this was taken from only 170 miles. Do you see an issue here? It's just like the Red Bull space jump in the Mythbusters episode that used downward-facing fisheye lenses to create massive amounts of curvature. But the non-fisheye lenses from the capsule and the cockpit show flat horizons, which concur perfectly with weather balloon footage more than 20 miles up. Which, by the way, 20 miles high is roughly the size of the bulge that should be in the state of Kansas due to it being 413 miles wide. Here's what 20 miles up looks like. That would be a large bulge for something that is supposed to be flatter than a pancake. And by the way, Kansas is only the 9th flattest state in the U.S. How many pieces of flat land does it take to make a ball? Why, when we look at the stars in December, do we see the same stars that we see in June? We should be looking in two totally different directions. If ships sail over the curve of the Earth, why are we able to bring them back into view with high-powered lenses as if they merely sailed past the horizon of the eye's angular resolution? Why are we able to see things over long distances, which according to the formula for a ball with a circumference of 24,900 miles, should be thousands of feet below the curvature horizon? And now with infrared technology, we are seeing things that should be miles below the horizon if we truly lived on a ball. If Eratosthenes proved the Earth was a ball thousands of years ago with an experiment using shadows, why do experts say that his results should actually be the same on a flat Earth with a smaller local sun? If the sun barely looks bigger than the other stars from Saturn, why is it able to completely light it up so that we can see it from Earth? And if something merely the size of the other stars can do that, why is the backside of Saturn not lit up by the billions of stars on the other side? And why are there dark sides to any objects in the solar system? If moonlight reflects the warm light of the sun, why is moonlight measurably cold? Why is it warmer in the shadows at night when it's the exact opposite of what we experience in the sunlight during the day?
From Taiwan to Los Angeles, and Hawaii's out there kind of in the middle. Right about here, there was a medical emergency. Where would you land if you were the pilot?
Hawaii.
Right, or maybe go to Los Angeles. Instead, they went all the way up to Alaska.
What?
Why did they go to Alaska? The answer is because this is the route. Taiwan,
Oh, shit.
emergency, Alaska. Hawaii is all the way out here. This is the actual route that they take.
Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go. The Earth is a closed system.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth.
The Earth is a closed system.
That stuff is flat.
The Earth is a closed system.
That stuff is flat. Right.
The Earth is a closed system.
That stuff is flat.
Now to check this out, look, these are all government agency logos. You've got the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Meteorological Organization, the International Maritime Organization, and the International Civil Aviation Organization. Now, what do all these government agency logos have in common? They all use a flat Earth map in their logo. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why do all the government agencies that basically control the whole world use a flat Earth map in their logo? They put the truth in plain sight, people. You just got to seek it. What's the best way to hide something? Put it in plain sight. You'll never see it. Pardon my folly. Hear me out.
Pay attention. They know something you don't. This is the real flat Earth diagram.
Strange while booking my Asian getaway. My plane seems to be making a detour over Alaska. Why is my plane going out of its way to avoid the Pacific Ocean? Is this a mistake? Did I accidentally sign up for the Caribou route? At first, you might think this was a safety issue. The Pacific is the largest and deepest of the world's oceans. If a plane encounters a problem over a seemingly endless and bottomless pond of water, the pilots are going to have a rough time finding a safe spot to set her down. Alaska might not be overpopulated with international airports, but it's a lot better than the middle of the ocean. How's that for a tourism slogan? Alaska. At least it's better than sinking.
Now, let me show you the real true reason why we have to fly over Alaska just to get to Asia. Check this out. Now here's the flight pattern on a globe. The guy leaves Seattle, Washington, flies over Alaska, kind of curves around the so-called globe and lands in Asia. Okay. Now, if you still don't get it, let me break it down to you this way. On a globe map, all the pilot had to do was leave Seattle, Washington, fly straight across the sea to Asia, which would have been the shortest route. Fuel-wise, whatever you want to call it, that would have been the shortest route. But he can't do that because it's impossible. Now, let's have a look at the same route on a flat Earth map. Okay, here we have the United States, the west coast of the United States. Here we have Asia, which is where the guy went. Well, look what's right in between. Alaska. So if you leave here, go into Asia, guess where you're going to fly across? Alaska. Let me zoom in on the map so you guys can see just a little bit better here. As you can see right there, Alaska, right in between Asia and the United States. Now, let's put a marker on there so you guys can see it's a straight line, straight across. And Alaska is right in between. So as you can see, they don't choose to fly that route. They have no choice but to fly that route. Now, like I've told you many, many times before, it's really, really simple. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
And remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Seal. What word? Seal. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
They put the truth in cartoons.
Oh, why are you so afraid of the truth? Because anybody who thinks 9/11 was a conspiracy is a retard. Butters, do you think 9/11 was just a plot by some angry terrorists, or do you think there was some kind of cover-up? Well, I heard that 9/11 was caused by President Bush. Butters, you don't really believe that, do you? Well, I mean, you never know. The government does some pretty spooky things. The government and the corporations headed by the Jews that carried out 9/11. We are told to believe that the fire from the jet fuel melted the steel framing of the towers, which led to their collapse. But did you know jet fuel doesn't burn at high enough temperature to melt steel? We were told the Pentagon was hit by a hijacked plane as well. But now look at this photo of the Pentagon. The hole is not nearly big enough. And if a plane hit it, where's the rest of the plane? Whoa.
I know it seems crazy, but 9/11 was pulled off by our own government, so they could gain support for attacking the Middle East.
Dude, why would the government attack its own buildings?
It's called the false flag policy.
According to Russia, there's much more to Antarctica than the public is being told. They claim that top governments worldwide know exactly what's going on there, but they haven't disclosed it until now. Possibly an entire continent below Antarctica's ice? Could this be Atlantis? Some theorists even believe that an ancient civilization that once fell actually lives and inhabits the continent below the ice. This is what essentially attracted the larger world governments to Antarctica, to see if they couldn't find this alleged continent. But why would this important discovery be kept top secret from the public? Well, many believe it's because of a discovery that Russia supposedly made back in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, a Russian scientific expedition made an amazing discovery. After drilling 2,000 meters into the ice shelf, they'd break into a cavern and discover freshwater lakes. And much to their surprise, these lakes were not frozen. It was essentially fresh water that had been isolated down there for what they believed to be 10 million years. So after making the discovery of the freshwater lakes, the scientists decided that they wanted to set up an expedition to drill down to the largest of the lakes, Lake Vostok. It's said that this borehole took over 10 years to dig, and now it's fitted with an elevator that you can take all the way down. This elevator would take 8 scientists down to the lakes to verify their existence. But little did these scientists know, they were about to embark on an expedition that could cost them their lives. Shortly after they began exploring the lake, they would have a run-in with an organism known as Organism 46B. Organism 46B was very similar to that of an octopus, except it was much more lethal. It said it had a venom that could paralyze its prey for up to 150 feet. Then it would rip them apart at its leisure. And 46B did just this to one of their colleagues while they were diving in the lake. They said that though it is just like an octopus, it is actually much larger and has 14 legs. It's believed that 46B has some traits of the mimic octopus from the Indo-Pacific, except 46B could actually take its shapeshifting to another level. One crew member found this out the hard way. He witnessed as what he believed another diver was approaching him while in the water. As a result, he really didn't pay much attention to it until it was too late. Organism 46B had actually shapeshifted itself to mimic the look of a fellow diver. He would paralyze the crew member and tear him apart. After this second death of one of their colleagues, they knew that they had to capture the creature in order to study it. Naturally, Russia wanted to study it so they could possibly use it for warfare in the future. So they'd use the female crew member who was said to have extra fantastical traits. She was highly skilled at camouflaging herself and avoiding being killed. To me, this almost sounds like a Black Widow type woman from Avengers. So they'd place a massive net in the water and use her as bait. Sure enough, the creature would show up for its feast. As it approached, she'd quickly evade the beast, and they'd capture it in a massive net. They would then get the beast on the elevator, and they'd send it to the top, where scientists would put it in a tank. They'd then study it for years on end, and it's alleged that they still even have 46B contained. This is allegedly how they've come up with all the information they have on it. Russia also wanted to study the venom it used to paralyze its prey from over 150 feet. This is just one of the possible stories that have leaked from Antarctica. It makes you wonder what else could be down there.
Growing up, we were all taught about our world, how it works, and the functions around it. Our world has 7 continents while spinning at about 1,000 miles per hour, while orbiting the sun at about 67,000 miles per hour, all while hurling through space at about 448,000 miles per hour. And while this is widely accepted today, many people are starting to believe that the world might be a little, if not completely different from what we were told. Mainly, there has been 3 different theories about the shape, location, and functionality of our world that has been blowing up recently. I'm about to go through them quickly. The first theory is Bigger Earth theory. This theory states that our world is 3 times bigger than what they're telling us, with 3 times as many continents. This theory talks about how we're just on a small part of the world while the rest of the world is purposely being hidden from us. The next theory is Hollow Earth theory. This theory states that instead of our world being full of rocks and lava, it's actually hollow and can be accessed through entrances at the North and South Pole and various tunnels around the world. The last and easily the most controversial theory is the Flat Earth theory. This theory states that our world is semi-flat with a dome on top of it and the sun and the moon within this dome. Similar to the Bigger Earth theory, this theory states that we're only given a very small chunk of the world, and even takes it a step further in saying that there are multiple different lands with different advancement levels and possibly even species that we've never heard of. And although these theories sound crazy, there's actually some interesting perspectives and evidences around them. Leave a like if you want me to break each of these theories down.
Extraterrestrial. Outer space. 2 words that you've been completely indoctrinated on. Terrestrial means land, like extraterrestrial, extra land, like this. And then outer space, it's not talking about up. Outer space, from the space of which we live, outside the ice walls. Quit giving in to the indoctrination BS, okay? Especially you boomers. Our sun is local, our moon is local. Each of these realms have their own sun and moon as well. Most major civilizations throughout time knew this. What if the ones you were lying to found out about the unlimited resources? What if we found out about everything you've lied to us about?
Antarctica, which is in the very south, is an ice wall that's around all of the continents. So instead of us being able to go around the world, it's all enclosed by Antarctica's ice wall. So the United Nations map is actually the flat Earth map model. They have actual borders around this, and then you see all the continents spread out. So if this was a globe, they spread it out like this. So that's the model that they believe in. There's an Arctic ice wall around it. And one reason this gets perpetuated and people think it's valid to think Antarctica is the barrier is because in the late 50s, there was a treaty signed by almost all the major countries of power to not let anybody go into Antarctica. So if you try to get close to Antarctica, they're gonna tell you, get the hell out of here. You could go on little explorations of it, but nothing without a bunch of people monitoring you, right? And planes don't fly over it. All flight patterns take you away from Antarctica. No one's flying directly over it. They always take a weird route. Like there was an airplane that was going from the Philippines to Los Angeles, which should be a straight route, Philippines to Los Angeles. Mid-flight, a woman, her water broke. So they had to make emergency landing. They could have either just turned around or kept going to Los Angeles. Somehow they ended up in Alaska. So the flight plan to get them from Philippines to Alaska, if you put it on the flat Earth map, it's a straight line from the Philippines to Alaska. But when you put it on a globe, it makes no sense, right?
A film crew went to Antarctica and may have found something that could have changed the world. In November of 2002, a film crew from California went to Antarctica to make a video for the production company Atlantis TV. At the time, satellite imagery was pretty new and had not been censored much yet, so people were finding strange anomalies sticking out of the Arctic ice. These anomalies, coupled with reports that the US government was sending military equipment down to Antarctica, made the crew suspicious that there was more happening there than the public knew, which prompted them to go on this investigation in the first place. However, while in Antarctica, the entire crew disappeared and to this day are still missing. Navy SEALs were then dispatched to go and find them, and although they were never found, they did find a tape that was left by the film crew. The tape apparently had video footage of ancient ruins frozen beneath the ice and other things that they couldn't specify. The story is pretty old, so it's hard to confirm the authenticity or the accuracy of it, but I did find another video of something strange caught in Antarctica. I want you guys to check it out and then let me know what you think about all this in the comments.
What if once you made it past the ice wall, you'll find the 20 continents that are really being hidden from us? And what if there was a map that showed this? There are theories that these continents contain prehistoric animals, aliens, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents that we are living in is actually a giant farm or business owned by a small handful of families that make up the filthy rich in the real world, or in the other continents that we don't know about. That is one.
Can anyone find a source about this?
So Russia
Listen up, pretty interesting.
is now becoming the first country to break ties with the Antarctic Treaty. Russia is now stating there is an entire continent under the Antarctic ice. They are now saying there is fresh water, lakes, rivers, and civilization up under the ice in the Antarctic. Now, what the fuck made Russia just come out here and disclose something that we all knew, because all these countries can't agree on nothing, but they can agree on keeping everybody in the world out of Antarctica. And I'll tell you why. They know everything that we've ever been told is a lie. Everything is a lie. And now Russia, but see, but Russia, you've been in on it. You've been keeping quiet now. What, just because you mad now? Now you want to expose them? It's an agenda. This is a distraction. This is a distraction, even though this is true. Why now? Why come forward with the information at this particular moment? Why? Is it to distract us, or is it to get us to say, oh, since most people already believe in a civilization and these aliens is about to pop up, well, maybe we can just get them all to believe it. Maybe we can just get it that way. Why now is the question. Why would you break this treaty and tell the world? We know it's a truth, but why? An entire civilization is under the ice. So you know that there's life forms. Same thing I've been telling people. And now Russia has broken its silence and has confirmed advanced civilization up under the ice. But I say again, why now? You don't find that suspicious? Why would you tell us now what's about to happen that they want this to be the big story and distract us away from what's happening? You notice, right? It ain't been no hurricanes in Florida and South Carolina, but now they surrounded by 5 of them. What is it that's about to happen that they want to distract us from, that Russia just came out with this major announcement? Let me know what y'all think it is.
The body of Lake Michigan is 574 feet above sea level, and it's level. There's no change in elevation, there's no curve. This cross-section shows what an undisturbed body of water looks like, and that's level. We know that to be true. There's 3 properties of liquids. They have mass, they take up space, and they always take the shape of their container.
The physics of water is to find and maintain level. So if it's in a cup, to this lake behind me, to the seas, to the oceans, that's why they call it sea level, because it's flat and level. No matter who tries to sell you the idea that water's curving over a ball, it's just not happening. That's the #1 proof right there, just water alone. Water alone proves that the earth is flat, because water always finds and maintains level, period. Water does not curve. In its temporary state, it's finding its level. Once it hits the ground and finds its level, it remains level.
I never even thought of the idea of water maintaining its level, and that alone just like mind-blowing. Like, absolutely, water has to maintain its level. Like, it's always, if it's calm and there's nothing going on, you look at a lake, it's just chill and flat. It has to be. It can't curve.
There's nothing you can say or do to ever show water bending or curving. Water needs to be contained. No matter what you do, it's going to remain level.
The flat earth proves beyond a shadow of a doubt the existence of intelligent design, a creator, and we are all important in the center of the universe.
Yes, it is absolutely imperative that we know that there is a creator, that the sun, moon, and stars revolve around us, that we have a purpose. We are at the center of the universe. I didn't become a millionaire until I realized I was at the center of the universe. Now I have a purpose.
Once you understand that you are at the center of creation, everything changes. And basically, we're unplugging from the matrix. We're unplugging from the heliocentric system. And when you do that, the rulers of this world, you unplug from them. You stop feeding them what they need. They want your fear energy. They want your labor. They want everything from you. And people unknowingly just keep giving it to them.
I don't want my children to be lied to, and I don't want my grandchildren to be lied to either. So if this is going to stop, it starts with you and I.
They inherit all this stuff. You go to school and they teach you. When I was in grad school, man, I was shocked that most of my classmates were not really interested in learning. They were interested in passing a class.
On the one side, tens and tens of scientists proven that the Earth is stationary, and we have nothing on the globe's side, so the Earth is stationary.
No one thinks how easy it is to do this, and they pulled it off, unfortunately. But we're here now to completely reverse this, and people hate on us from the left and from the right. Everyone hates on us. Like, shut up with your flat earth stuff. It's not important. It's the most important thing. It opens the door for everything else. You want to know the truth? You have to know where you live.
Manipulated is to find its level. So whether you look at a cup of water, a bathtub, a swimming pool, a lake, or the ocean, it's flat. Of course, natural motion is not considered and doesn't equal a curve. We have 0 authentic pictures of the Earth, and they're all composites, and NASA even admits that they Photoshop Earth images.
It is Photoshopped, but it's has to be.
On numerous occasions, NASA admits that we can't go beyond low Earth orbit, which is between 99 miles and 1,200 miles away. The interesting thing is that the moon is said to be 238,000 miles away, which is a difference of 236,800 miles. No matter if you're on the ground, on top of a building, a mountain, a hot air balloon, an airplane, or looking at high-altitude amateur balloon footage, the horizon never fails to rise right to your eyes. Whether you are looking at Toronto's skyline from Niagara on the lake, 31 miles away, Chicago's skyline from Union Pier, 43 miles away, or even Oahu from Kauai, which is up to 108 miles away from center to center, or 73 miles away from the closest points. You will not see any curvature where it's supposed to be. According to the Pythagorean theorem, which states that the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile squared, Oahu should not be visible whatsoever, but you can see the whole thing. In 1887, Albert Michelson and Edward Morley conducted what's known as the Michelson-Morley experiment. This experiment was attempting to prove the speculated motion of the Earth around the Sun, and when it failed, Albert Einstein was forced to form the theory of relativity to overcome this problem. In fact, anytime mainstream science is faced with undesirable results, they create a workaround, which isn't real science at all. The Sun is claimed to be 93 million miles away, with a radius of over 400,000 miles, but can easily be proven to be much closer and smaller by tracing the crepuscular rays back to its origin in the sky. If the Sun were indeed 93 million miles away, it would simply be impossible to have angled sun rays, as they should all consistently come in straight. According to the globular theory, a lunar eclipse occurs when the Sun, Earth, and Moon are in a direct line. But it is on record that since about the 15th century, over 50 eclipses have occurred while both the Sun and Moon are visible above the horizon. F.H. Cook, The Terrestrial Plane. It's a common misconception that the shadow of the Earth causes moon phases. Even the pastors and priests of the science religion readily admit this fact. The interesting thing about moon phases is that they are always the exact same 8 phases repeated. But if we were circling around the Sun, these 8 phases would inevitably be reversed from the summer to winter seasons. I completely understand that the idea of a flattened stationary Earth seems ridiculous in many ways, but that's only because we are taught the false globe model from the very first time that we enter a school classroom. Not to mention the first time we are introduced to the concept of a flat Earth, it's depicted as a highly laughable world where ships, boats, and water would run off of the edge. So I do get it, but it's all part of the deception. I've spent 30 years of my life believing that we were on a spinning globe. It wasn't until I unbiasedly and scientifically investigated the flat Earth claims that I started to realize that there is more to this theory than I originally gave it credit for. Now, after almost 2 years of research, I'm certain that the Earth is flat. We are told that the Earth spins at 1,040 miles per hour, while the Earth travels around the Sun at 66,000 miles per hour. Meanwhile, the whole solar system is going inside the Milky Way galaxy at a speed of 490,000 miles per hour. And finally, the entire Milky Way galaxy is darting through infinite space at over 1 million miles per hour. Most people believe this. And yet every experiment ever conducted to prove even the simple spin of the Earth has failed. The same thing goes for curvature. It's never been proven, and the only time we see it is in movies, NASA CGI, or when we're looking through a distorted fisheye lens. With all that said, please continue to research critically and don't be afraid to ask reasonable questions and speak out.
my opinion, we're being lied to not only about the shape of the Earth, we're being lied to about the very nature of reality itself. In 1954, Admiral Richard Byrd, a highly decorated naval officer, conducted an interview where he alluded to the idea that there may very well be land beyond the poles.
Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
It's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
We don't know. That's the big problem. We don't know where we are. Okay? That's what we're all trying to figure out here. But there is the Antarctic Treaty where, 53 or so nations have signed saying that no one's going to lay claim to Antarctica and that there are massive restrictions for travel there. You can't just get up and go to Antarctica on your own. You have to have a tour guide with you, and there are only certain entry points, and there are limits on where you can go search.
Personally, I think the unconquered South face is the only one worth scaling. It's a 20,000-foot sheer wall of ice, but that's never stopped me before.
Welcome.
No, I just want to stand on top of the wall and piss off the edge of the world.
What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Yeah, that's their favorite line.
So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us or are we spinning around the universe? They tell you, we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. You're gonna tell me that that light and that light, that's 250, 100 trillion light years away? How the fuck did you figure that out? And you learn.
Well, don't they have an explanation for that shit?
No, exactly. That's what you just said right now. What you just said now is what everyone's natural reaction. Because anytime someone says anything about space, you automatically think, someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name. You don't know the name of the experiment. You didn't look into it yourself. You just think when someone tells you, how far is the Earth from the sun? They'll say, 93 million miles away. Like you just, everybody relies on someone figured that out and someone double checked it. You're going on what you read, right?
You think it's nonsense? Because that's what I think too.
Of course you do. You're a three-horn, like me.
Life's exactly what you see.
Nothing is a mystery.
A rock's a rock, a tree's a tree. It's what I call reality.
Reality is so plain to see. It's right in front of me.
My reality is problem-free. I can see the world is flat.
The sky is round, can't argue that.
While we stand still here on the ground.
The bright circle goes round.
Reality.
My reality
is no mystery.
Is just what you see.
It's right in front of me.
There's no mystery.
My reality is plain to see. Reality.
Everything that we thought we knew about human history has to be rewritten. Atlantis was a civilization that covered the entire planet. The main city was in Antarctica and is now under miles of ice. This is going to become an open, public, acknowledged thing.
Can you can see my screen here? Mm-hmm. All right, so this is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. The sky is the perfect clock. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. Wherever the sun is, it's noon, right? The sun will lap the moon every 28 days. So if I speed it up, you'll see that the sun is going to catch up to the moon. The moon, its phases and its position keep track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days, but they hijacked that from us also, right? Slow it down, turn on the stars. The stars are spinning the same way from east to west, no matter where you are on Earth. And the stars are going slightly faster than the sun, to where the point where is they'll lap the sun once every 365 days. So right now, the sun is fading back into this constellation. Next month, it'll be in Capricorn. It'll fade back in there, and it'll go through all the zodiacs until it's back to where it is on this day next year, right? So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years.
Some people are starting to believe that a new side of our world is being revealed to us. You might remember how earlier this year there was multiple sinkholes opening all over the world. And one of these sinkholes, specifically the one in China, opened up and revealed an ancient forest with trees over 100 feet tall. And in August, there was reports that the ice in Antarctica was melting at a very alarming rate. And there's been people claiming to have found metallic objects sticking out of the snow using satellite imagery and believe that they'll continue to do so as the ice melts. On more recent news, there has been severe droughts all over the world that has also been revealing strange things like ancient cities. Ancient monuments, writings, and bridges have also been found because of these droughts, and many people believe that there will be many more things to come in the future.
Okay, so there's something I genuinely don't understand about Earth that needs a lot of explaining, and it has something to do with this. How come there is so much war, conflict, and division, but when it comes to this continent, we could all agree on something? Bro, quickly look at the countries a part of the Antarctic Treaty, which is basically an agreement saying that the continent only be used for peaceful and scientific reasons. Look at this: China, Cuba, Canada, Australia. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Look at this: Russia, Ukraine. Like, aren't these people at war? Most of these countries hate each other's guts, but when it comes to this continent, they're like, oh yeah, no, let's not mess around with that one. Here's a quick history lesson for you. This man was obsessed with Antarctica. He created a base there, he studied UFOs, and he even created an anti-gravity craft known as the Bell. Not to mention the artifacts they find down there and the strange geometric structures that nobody could explain. Even elongated skulls that were not made by head binding and have non-human DNA in them. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is genuine observations made by the people that live on this planet. Obviously, there's some missing links and things we're not being told that we should be told. You could try to explain this however you want to make this sound normal, but you cannot deny the fact that there's a lot of mysteries going on here.
Earth might be bigger than we thought. For years, people have debated over the shape of the Earth, if it is round or flat. Now, this might just all be a conspiracy, but what if the Earth had more than just 7 continents? And Antarctica was just a giant ice wall that kept us from seeing the rest of the continents? What if once you made it past the ice wall, you'll find the 20 continents that are really being hidden from us? And what if there was a map that showed this? There are theories that these continents contain prehistoric animals, aliens, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents that we are living in is actually a giant farm or business owned by a small handful of families that make up the filthy rich in the real world, or in the other continents that we don't know about. That is why